in the Adhyatma Ramayan, written by Ved Vyas ji. Last night we heard from the Adbhut Ramayan in the writings of Maharaj Valmiki ji. Tonight Ved Vyas ji is writing in these shlokas a katha that he is quoting between Lord Shiva and Parvati. Last night's katha, the katha was related to us by Valmiki, but Valmiki was quoting Bhagwan Shiva and Sati. Tonight Maharaj Ved Vyas ji in the Adhyatma Ramayan is quoting Ved Vyas ji. Ved Vyas ji is quoting Bhagwan Shiva and Parvati Devi. And what he says? Ravano Rakshasindrota. Oh, Ravan became so powerful. Lord Shiva says to Parvati, because of my Vardhan. Ravan was a great bhakta of Lord Shiva. But you see, whenever Ravan prayed to Shivaji, Ravan will ask for all kinds of things. But devotees, he would wait to hear what would Lord Shiva say. And you know what Bhagwan Shankar would say to him? That, oh Ravan, I will give. You see, the minute Ravan would hear the word give, he became very happy. He didn't want to hear anything again. It's like you going to someone and you're saying, Ma, I want to ask you for something. I want X, Y, and Z. And then Mama turns around and she says, all right, I will give. And the minute you hear give, that's it. You ever want to hear if she say, okay, I will give you a flower or I'll give you a fruit, you only hear give and that's it. So Ravan was only concerned about Bhagwan Shankar saying, I will give. But what Shivji is saying here to Parvati, that, oh Parvati, whenever Ravan will ask for a boon, I will say to him, oh Ravan, I will give you that which is best for you. And you see, many of us can't make that differentiation because when we pray, we ask God for all kinds of things. Bhayavish? When you sit to pray, what do you ask God for? Prabhu, the lotto might be, I don't know how much this weekend, if you only give me a few of the numbers. Om Namah Shivaya Bhayanoras. And so friends, God wants to give us everything that we want. But you see, devotees, everything that we want is not always what is best for us. You might want something and you might be praying to God for something, but Bhagwan may very well know that that which you are asking for is not what is best for you. And that, if you are given what you want, could be the cause for your destruction. And what Bhagwan Shankar says to Parvati, that, oh Devi, Ravan is asking for so many things. And every time he asks, I will say to him, oh Ravan, I will give you, but that which is best for you. Ravana Rakshasindrota Kalpan Sannityam Tritha Ramane Lakshamenapi Rahitam Janukim Tatha. In the beautiful Sanskrit slok, Shivji says to Parvati that, oh Parvati, Ravan became so powerful, but the power caused him to become so haughty that what happened? He went and he was deluded to take away the Vedvati Sita. And listen to the beautiful words of Shivji as he spoke to Parvati. Kadachit Ravano Moha Lankayam Tam Yatastavaha Lankarnam Sachitam Tasya Siddho Mahabalam. Devotees, Lord Shiva says that Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra ji knew what Ravan was planning. And at that very instant, Sri Ramchandra ji took Sita Devi and invoking the consciousness within the sacred fire, Sri Ramchandra ji entrusted the safety and the security, the welfare and the well-being. Remember these words, safety, say them, safety, security, well-being, and security. Safety, security, well-being. And what is the last one? Nobody remember the last one? Your happiness. He entrusted Sita in these four in the Agni. And invoking Agni, consecrating the fire, he placed Sita inside of the fire. And what was left was only the veil or the shadow of Devi Sita. Sri Ramchandra Ji knew very well what was happening. Bhagavan Shankar says in the next verse to Parvati Devi, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama. Bolo, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama.
Shri Rama Sharanam Mama.
Shri Rama Sharanam Mama. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama. Shri Rama
Sharanam Mama. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama.
Tram Drishtava Tato Ramo Lakshman Tasya Mahabalam Nadi Vaitarani Chabu Chakshu So Rariso Bhava Shri Rama Sharanam. Bolo bhaiya. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama. 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 Shri Rama. Bolo Syavar Ramachandra ki. Bhagavan Shankar says to Parvati that, O Parvati, the Agni is the source of our protection. The Agni is the abode of our safety. The Agni is the symbol of our happiness, our purity, our sanctity. And so, friends, this is why in every home, at least for the full moon or the full moon Purnima, or for the Purnima Vrat, which is the day before the full moon. So either the day of the full moon or the day before, you check your Hindu calendar and those dates are given to you. We consecrate the fire and we perform the ritual of Homa or Havan. Of course, when the Pundit comes to your home, you're given the opportunity to do it then. But what happens when we consecrate that fire and we do puja? That fire becomes the source of our purity, our sanctity, our blessing, our safety, our protection, our security and everything. Sri Ramchandra Ji consecrates that fire and he places Sita there. And what really remains is just the shadow of Sita. Bhagavan Shankar says to Parvati that, O Parvati, Ravan became so deluded because the god of death had already hooked Ravan by the neck. And Bhagavan Shiva says to Parvati that, O Parvati, this is why sometimes when people are close and rearing to their final moments, they do not think clearly. Their actions become perverse indeed, and they begin to engage themselves in all kinds of unrighteous and undesirable behaviors. O Parvati, the god of death would have already hooked with his noose the neck of Ravan, and so his mind became deluded. Ravan went there, and with Ravan's height of ignorance, he lifted the dirt at the feet of Sita. And if you follow the teachings of Ram's Katha, devotees, at no time did Ravan hold the hand, nor the neck, or the waist, nor the hair of Devi Sita. If he had physically held on to Sita, he would have realized that what was there was not really Sita, but was the Vedvati, or would have been the shadow of the Devi Sita. And then, of course, the Ramayan would have had to take a different course. So really and truly, Ravan saw Sita there, but not for once did he think that this was just merely the shadow of Sita. In his arrogance, he lifted the earth that she stood upon and he took her away like this. At no time did his hands physically touch Sita Devi. And so, friends, Bhagavan Shiva says to Parvati that in this way, the Vedvati Sita was abducted. Playing the role of an ordinary mortal now, Shivji says to Parvati that when Sri Ramchandra ji discovered that the Sita was abducted, fulfilling the role of an ordinary mortal, tears of sorrow, tears of anguish flowed from the eyes of Sri Ramchandra ji. Maharaj Vyasji relates in the next shloka. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam. Everyone, bolo bhaiya. Shri Rama Sharanam Mama,
Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama,
Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama
Sharanam Mama,
Shri Rama
Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama.
Nadi Vaitarani Chabhu Chakshu Sorasu Sobhava Vaitarani Tasya Dityetam Madato Vaitarani Kritam Shri Rama Sharanam Mama Shri Rama Sharanam Mama Shri Rama Sharanam Mama Shri Rama Sharanam Mama Bolo Shri Rama
Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam Mama, Shri Rama Sharanam.
Ramachandra ki Nadi Vaitarani Chabhu Chakshuso Rasuru Bhava. The Sanskrit term Nadi refers to Nadi. Are Baap. Nadi means if I say Kora, the next line is river. Not so, you know that one very well. So Nadi Vaitarani, Bhagwan Shankar says to Parvati that, O Parvati, when Sri Ramchandra ji started to weep and wail and cry in search of Vedvati Sita, his tears flowing from his eyes created a river called Vaitarani. Bhagwan Shankar says to Parvati that, O Parvati, this river Vaitarani is the very said river that every single individual leaving this worldly region will have to cross before entering into the abode of Bhagwan Vishnu. Bhagwan Shiva says to Parvati that, O Parvati, the tears flowing from the eyes of Sri Ram created this Vaitarani. The word Vaitarani, Tarani, is a Sanskrit word which means he who liberates, he who provides deliverance, he who shows the way out of tormentation, misfortune and misery. And the word Vai before Tarani means he who has to go through tormentation, difficulties, sorrows and misfortunes. Devotees, in the Garud Puran, we would hear that whenever an individual dies, we have to pass through what is called the Vaitarani. For those of you who would have witnessed what we do called the Godan, the giving of the gift of the cow, it is said that whenever an individual dies, this path must be followed. And whatever one would have done while one would have been alive, whatever you do here now confronts you in the Vaitarani, in that river that you must pass before you reach the abode of Bhagwan Vishnu. Devotees, Bhagwan Shiva says to Parvati that, O Devi, this river was created by none else than the tears flowing from the sorrowful eyes, the grieving eyes of Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra ji. The Katha says to us, devotees, that when we leave this world, that river Vaitarani is simply a reflection of the life that you would have lived while you were in this world, living in this world. So every single thing that you did will confront you in that river. The good things that you did, you will find in there. The bad things, you would find in there. The virtuous deeds that you perform, every act of charity, every selfless service, every offering of help to those who are in need, you will find in there in terms of punya or merits. But so too, every time you made someone cry, just as Sri Ramchandraji is crying, every time you hurt the feelings of someone, every time you would have done something to bring that kind of hardship or difficulty or demise to another person, what really, my dear devotees, is the Vaitarani? It is a confrontation of one's own action. Very simply, the Vaitarani, the river of life that confronts you when you leave this world. And this is why, friends, we are always reminded in our scriptures, be careful, little mouth, what you say. Be careful, O eyes, what you see. Be careful, O hands, what you do. Be careful, O feet, where you go. For Bhagwan up above is looking down below. So careful, Bhaiya, where you go, what you say, and what you do. Bolo Siyawar Ramachandra ki Raghupati Raghav Raja Rampati Pavan Sita. Everyone, bolo!
Raghupati Raghav Raja Rampati Pavan Sita.
Bolo Raghupati Raghav Raja Rampati Pavan Sita Ram. Jai Jai
Raghupati Raghav Raja Rampati Pavan Sita Ram.
पतित पावन सीताराम,
पतित पावन सीताराम,
रामचंद्र भगवान की. And so, my friends, Sita Devi, the Vedavati, is being held captive by the vile king Ravana in the Ashoka. And devotees, Sri Ramchandraji, through the instrumentality of Pavan Putra Mahabir Swami Shri Hanumanji, they were able to form an army now going into Lanka to fight against the forces of Ravana. Devotees, Ravan had a brother called Kumbhkaran. He was very huge, very large and mountain-like. And my friends, there realizing that his battle would have been so much to the extent that he was losing, he went and woke Kumbhkaran, who usually would sleep for 6 months and wake for 6 months and then go back 6 months to sleep again. And there are compilation of beautiful dohas in the writings of Maharaj Vedvyasji that a conversation started between Kumbhkaran and his brother. What are these two brothers discussing? We listen in these beautiful dohas from Ram's Katha. Siyawar Ramachandra ki! सुनि दस कंदर बचन तभ कुंभकरण भय लंका रामा कुंभकरण भय जगदम्बा हरियाणी अभ सतु चाहत कल्याण रामा सत चाहत कल्याण सियावर रामचंद्र फल जय शरणम
कर
सिकंदर बचन तब कुंभकर्ण बिलखन हो रामा श्री राम जय जय राम। जगदम्बा हरियाणी अभ सत चाहत कल्याण हो रामा सत चाहत कल्याण। सियावर राम चंद्र की जय शरणम शंकर हरि ओम जय जय। रामचंद्र भगवान की। Devotees, when Kumbhkaran heard the prattle of Ravana, and Ravan continues and he continues and he continues, Kumbhkaran saw only one thing: a man who is close to his end. And Kumbhkaran knew very well that in the words and in the utterance of Ravan, that no matter what he would have said to try to convince Ravan to change his ways, that his mindset was already there. But what he's thinking, that if as a brother I do not humble myself to give such loving advice, that despite what he may do to me, I am still going to try. Ram Rupa Guna Sumiratha Magan Bhayu Chanhe Ko Ravan, what have you done to Janaki? Oh my brother, my beloved brother, I know that it is as a result of you that we have what we have today. You have given us so much and you have provided so much for us. But brother, even though you hate me and you berate me and you try to take my life, it is my duty to tell you, Prabhu, that you are nothing without Shri Ram. O Ravan, you will sink in sorrow without Ram. O Bhaiya, change your ways, Bhaiya, Bhaiya, give up hostility to Ram. And this is what Ravan is begging him. Ram Rupa Guna Sumiratha Magana Bhayu Chanhe Ravana Mange Koti Gahata Madanaur Maheshayane Kasyavar Ramachandra Ki. Kumbhkaran holds on to his feet and Ravan threatens him and tells him all kinds of things until, my friends, Ravan says to Kumbhkaran that if you don't do it, then surely you shall be slayed by my hands. Bachana karma mana kapatutaji bhajehu Ram randhir. And this is what we want to leave with you tonight, Bhaiya, as the yajna closes. Bachana, your words. Karma, your actions. Mana, your thoughts. Kapatutaji Bhayahu Ram Randhir Ho Rama Bhayahu Ram Randhir Jatanu Ram Sabha Koti Sabha Ram Ram Bhajtir Siyavar Ramachandra Ki Jai Sharanam Shankar Hari Om Jai Jai Siya Ram Jai Jai Siya Ram Ramachandra Ki. A brother speaking to the other brother, in thoughts, words and deeds, dedicate yourself to Ram. Nothing else will save you, Bhaiya. Happiness here and in the hereafter comes from the mercy of Ram. Siyavar Ramachandra Ki Jai. Realizing the imminent death of Ravan, you know what Kumbhkaran says? I want you to bring me 100,000 buffaloes and 100,000 barrel of wine. Devotees, why does Kumbhkaran ask for wine and M-E-A-T to E-A-T? Do you know why? I'll tell you why. It sounds haughty. It sounds adharmic in the scripture. But Kumbhkaran was being asked by his brother to perform something that he knows very well he shouldn't do. And Kumbhkaran is thinking that in my right mind there is no way that I could show hostility to my Ram. If I have to do it, I have to be out of my mind. Bring things for me to eat and drink that would distort my thinking, Bhaiya. I do not, as a Pundit, if you want to eat what you want to eat, Jai Bhagwan. If you want to drink what you want to eat, drink Jai Bhagwan. But you have to be mindful that the minute that the things that you eat and the things that you drink interfere with your ability to think clearly, Bhaiya, then there is a problem. Syavar Ramchandra ki Jai. Kumbhkaran well drink and he well eat. And the minute now he is out of his thinking, his thoughts are so interfered with, there and then, my friends, he goes to perform the act that would fulfill the desire and the happiness of his brother Ravana. And this is why he asked for so many things to eat and drink. Devotees, be mindful of what you put inside of you, because it inspires, it interferes, and it adjusts the way you think. When you eat sattvic food and you drink sattvic drinks, it creates an energy that keeps you peaceful and blissful and always mindful and conscientious of what you do. And so, my friends, Tulsidas Maharaj says that Kumbhkaran went reluctantly to fulfill the desire. Of course, giving his brother the opportunity to be the recipient of noble advice, one brother to the next, that, O Ravan, give up your hostility to Ram. Change your way of thinking, your behavior. No other way would you be truly happy. Taking away the Vedvati Sita brings nothing for you. O Ravan, bring true happiness in your life. Turn in the direction of Sri Ramchandraji. And so, my friends, very beautifully now, Kumbhkaran goes and he's destroyed yet again. Ravana is extremely infuriated. He's frustrated now. All of his soldiers have fallen. All his main fighters fell in battle with the hands of Sri Ram and Hanuman and the host of the army. Realizing now that he's being defeated, devotees, Vibhishan comes and into the air of Sri Ramchandraji, he speaks these words to Sri Ram: Prabhu, there is something taking place that you must know of. What Vibhishan says to Sri Ram, Sri Ramchandraji now is very perturbed, he's perplexed now in the words of Vibhishan, that for the first time Sri Ramchandraji appears to be very worried. What is taking place in the battle between Sri Ram and Ravan? We listen in this beautiful chaupai.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama.
O iha Vibhishan sabh sudhi pai, Sapati jai Raghupati sunai.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama.
नाथ करे रावणु एक यज्ञ, सिद्धा भयहु रावणु एक यज्ञ. श्री राम जय राम
Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama.
जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान.
Jai Hanuman Shri
सुधि पाई, सपति जय रघुपति सुनाही। श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम। Everyone, श्री राम जय राम,
श्री राम जय राम।
हो नाथ करी रावण एक जग्या, सिद्धि भये नहीं मिरहि अभागा। श्री राम जय राम, श्री राम जय राम, बोलो श्री राम जय राम,
श्री राम जय राम,
श्री राम जय राम,
श्री राम जय राम।
रामचंद्र भगवान की। Vibhishan comes and very silently he whispers into the air of Sri Ram lines that brought a lot of distress to Sri Ramchandraji when he heard that, oh my Ram, Ravan has gone and segregated himself. He blocked himself off and circumambulating himself by the rishis of Lanka. Ravan has consecrated a special yajna for the worship of Mahakal. Prabhu, if Ravan will only complete this yajna, there is no way, there is no one, and there is nothing that could be done to stop him. Prabhu, surely we will be gravely defeated. Sri Ramchandraji bent his head, my friends, and with his eyes now filling up with a tear of despondence, there in that state of mind, as it were totally lost and rid of all kinds of directions, Sri Ramchandraji, again in the words of Vibhishan says, Prabhu, will you not call upon Shri Hanumanji? And devotees, there and then Sri Ramchandraji turned into the direction of Hanumanji and he said, oh Hanuman, is it not that you are blessed with the Ashta Siddhis and the Navnidhis? Oh Hanuman, what could be done? How could we stop Ravan? My friends, the power of that yajna, again for the second time, we are hearing about the power of yajna and the power of the sanctity of that sacred fire. Ravan took all the rishis and munis and he brought them there and they circumambulated him. They form a circle around him chanting protective mantras that no one could come to destroy the yajna that was consecrated at the center. So if you picture it now, Ravan is in the center, the Havan Kund is lit, he's offering into the sacred fire, he's protected by the rishis who are guarding the yajna. And my dear friends, this now is the demise of Sri Ram. What would be done to stop Ravan? If the yajna is finished and the Purnahoti is given, the Purnahoti of course is the final offering, and after the Purnahoti, then the Ashirvad. Whatever the desire of the yajna would be, this is when the blessings would come. And they are worried now that when the Devi will come and Ravan will ask, she has to give him whatever his desire will be, then surely there is no way that they would be able to stop Ravan. Devotees, Sri Ramchandraji with joint palms. Bajrang Bali, mere naav chale, karuna kar paare laga dena. He Mahabira, har lo pira, satmarga mohi dikha dena. My friends. Look at the position that Sri Ramchandraji is in. What is he confronting now? A situation that appears to be hopeless. He feels very helpless. He is clueless now. What should be done? What to do? Where to go? And my friends, he is directed by Bibhishan to none other than Sri Pavanputra Mahabir Swami. Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Pray, everyone, bolo. Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. You know, there is a saying, where there is a will, there is a way. In tonight's Katha, Lord Shiva says to Parvati that, oh Parvati, Bhagavan Shankar says to all of us, those of you who are viewing us on Sankhya TV, wherever there is Shri Hanumanji, there will always be a way. And tonight we reaffirm ourselves that the blessings of Shri Hanumanji will find a way for us always to be happy, to be fulfilled. And my friends, no matter how narrow the path of life becomes, Shri Hanumanji always clears a path for us. Bolo! Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Pray together tonight, Bhaiya. Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
So my friends, Shri Hanumanji went there after Shri Ramchandraji reminds him of his great power, his potential and his ability. Remember the lines of Shri Hanuman Chalisa? Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi ke Data, Ashbar Deen Janki Mata, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दास रामचंद्र की जय. We hear all the time about Ashtasiddhi. What are the Ashtasiddhis? What is a Siddhi? A Siddhi, my dear friends, is that which will bring meaning and value and happiness to us. Anima, the ability for us to become as small and minute as possible. Then we have Mahima, the ability to grow large and powerful. Garima, the ability, my dear devotees, to become light as possible. Laghima, Garima and Laghima, the ability to become as light as possible. The gift of being able to be as heavy as possible. Prapti. The word Prapti, my dear friends, means that which will enable us to acquire anything we want in life. Prapti. Then Prakamya, the ability to be able to realize our aspirations, our dreams. Then Ish or Ishti, coming from the word Isha, which means to have sovereign power and control. And the final one, my dear devotees, Vaishnava, that which is the blessing to have everything under our control. That we are always in charge, possessing all of these powers, my friends. Shri Hanumanji, the symbol of all virtue. So the Ashta Siddhis, the 8 forms of perfection. Then we hear the Navanidhi. What is a Nidhi? The word Nidhi is that which allows us to lead a wealthy and prosperous life. But you see, we need to correct that immediately. When we say wealth and prosperity, immediately we tend to think money and valuables and all that would allow us to lead a happy life. This, my dear friends, is not what Sanatana Dharma refers to when we say wealth and prosperity. The Nidhis, the Navanidhis, are 9 various kinds of objects that brings wealth and prosperity to. What is wealth and prosperity in Sanatana Dharma? It is the ability to enjoy in life those things that would bring value to us. What are the things that bring value to us? The enjoyment of health, the enjoyment of family life, the enjoyment of togetherness, to enjoy peace of mind, to have a happy home, to be progressive in what you do, to ensure that your family is happy and well taken care of, to ensure that whatever you do, the blessings of the Devatas will come, and to ensure, my dear friends, that despite whatever you do, your hands, whatever you touch, that good fortune will come to you. So wealth and prosperity is not only the physical things in terms of money and financial resources and all of these things. True wealth is the enjoyment of a life that brings inner happiness and contentment. And these are the Nav-Nidhis. These Nav-Nidhis are in the possession of the hands of the god of wealth. He's called Kuber. So my friends, there is a connectivity between Shri Hanumanji and Kuber, or the god of wealth, through his blessings of the Navanidhis, and of course through his blessings of the achievement of the Asht Siddhis. So we have the 8 perfections and the 9 valuable possessions that Shri Hanumanji would have been the symbol of. My friends, these blessings were given to Shri Hanumanji by Devi Sita. And so Sri Ramchandraji is reminding him that, oh Hanumanji, use all of these abilities and I want you to go and destroy, prevent Ravana from completing that yajna. When Hanuman approached there, the power of protection accorded to Sri Ravana by the Rishis and Munis prevented Hanuman from even going close to where the yajna was being done. But my friends, all Sri Hanumanji could have done was to listen to the incantation or to listen to the chanting of the mantras as Ravana is offering into the fire. Ravana is offering, he's chanting and he's offering. Hanumanji now blended his voice in the chanting of Ravana, and listen very carefully to what happened. Ravana is chanting and he's offering. To the Devi mantras he's offering and chanting. Hanumanji lifted his voice and overpowered the voice of Ravana. And chanting together with Ravana, Shri Hanumanji changed 1 syllable in the mantra. 1 syllable was changed in the mantra. Instead of Ravana asking of the Devi, saying Swaha, that, oh Mahakali, bless me, that I may have the power to destroy the forces against me, that 1 mantra changed the entire meaning of Ravana's prayer. That, oh Mahakali, bless me, that I may be destroyed by my opposing forces. And so, devotees, Ravana's mind was on what he was doing, but his heart was elsewhere. And we're going to leave you with that for tonight. Whenever you pray, there are 2 things you pray with. You pray with your mind and you pray with your heart. And if these two are confused, then you're in problems. When you sit down to pray, your mind has to be focused. But most importantly, not only do you think of God, but you have to outpour your heart to Him. Ravana's mind was only on destroying. That is where his mind was. But his heart, my dear friends, was where? His heart was somewhere else. And so, not even thinking about what he was saying, he started to chant the mantra that he was hearing Hanuman chanting. And my friends, if your mind and your heart is not what you in what you are doing, then you're wasting time. The truest of devotion is to give your mind and your heart to God. Remember the line of the bhajan? पाप सब भागा भक्ति जब साधा श्री राम के चरणों में मन जब पाप सब भागा भक्ति जब साधा श्री राम के चरणों में जब से रामायण समझे थे हम श्री राम जय राम पाप सब भागा भक्ति जब साधा श्री राम जय राम इसका कोहे थे हम परम वैरागा श्री राम के चरणों में मन जब लागा पाप सब भागा पाप सब भागा भक्ति जब साधा श्री राम के चरणों में मन रामचंद्र की. So Ravan was so taken up in only wanting to destroy, my friends. He began chanting the mantra of Hanumanji, and when the Devi came, she said, "Oh Ravan, if that is what you want, I'll give it to you," not realizing that Hanumanji came and entered into his mind and corrupted his yajna. And my friends, Ravan became his own demise. And so, my friends, Dashanand, the 10-head Ravan, was thus destroyed by Sri Ramchandraji. Sri Ramchandraji regained the faith with his Sita. He established the principle of righteousness and good conduct when he enthroned Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. Ram, He Ram, Shri Ram.
सहारा नाम तेरा
भव भयहारी हितकारी कष्टों से आज छुड़ा देना कष्टों से आज छुड़ा लेना बजरंग बली मेरे नाम चली करुणा कर पार लगा देना करुणा कर पार लगा देना राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम. And so my friends, Lord Shiva relating this beautiful katha to Parvati, that O Parvati, this is the glory of Bhagwan Shri Ramchandra Ji, the glory of Pavan Putra Shri Hanuman Ji. Sing the name of the Lord, be happy eternally, fill your heart with the chanting, fill your mind with peace and bliss. Let the mantras bring peace and divinity to you. May you continue to be the abode of all blessings. Bhagwan Shankar says in beautiful verses from Ram's Katha to Parvati Devi. Ram Jai Jai Ram
Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
He Amar Dev He Balvanta He Pooje Muni Varsanta
हे अमर देव हे बलवंता तुझे पूजे मुनिवर सब संता
संकट हरना लागी शरणा श्री राम से मोह मिला देना
श्री राम से मोह
ब्रज देह दानवूदलम् जय 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 कपिसूर पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। शरणं शंकर हरि ओम। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।